Good morning, my sewing friends. This is Cheryl with Bluegrass Dreams to Seams. I have been trying to put together a video, I promise, all week, but I just couldn't seem to get it to happen. I've had several things I've been doing, and this is a month that my mother has to see several doctors, and so I'm dancing around doctor appointments for her and then also subbing. Of course, we had this bit of weather that's shut the schools down, so I'm getting a little break. I actually get to sew, and I've made 2 tops already, and I'm working on a jacket, but we'll talk about those next week. That's not my plans for this week, but you can see that I'm working on something back here. First off, I came home Tuesday with a box from Amazon on my table, and I knew I hadn't ordered a thing from Amazon, but I had been thinking about getting me one of these lights because I was tired of the track lighting. And so my daughter Sheena and her family were visiting my daughter Ashley and her family in Nashville, and they were out to dinner, and apparently Sam, my son-in-law, stated that I needed a light to help me with my videos, and Greg got right on it. So inside my Amazon box was this box. Yeah, my little ring light. And I just want to tell them thank you. Now, Sheena filled me in on the story that she said, you know, Sam said something to Greg, and Greg got on it and he ordered something from Amazon. But before I found out what all the background was on the story, I opened the box and there was a card in it that said, you know how they do that gift for you, little gift thing. And on it was a little box that you could put your camera over. And all it said on the gift receipt was, from your faithful follower. And that's all. Nothing else. No name, you know. So I click on that little box with my camera, and it opens up, would you like to send a personal thank you? And I said, well, yes. And of course, they already have that kind of address. It said Greg, comma, and a sentence. And I just hit send, you know. So when I said something to the 4 of them in a little group that I created on my phone, Greg came back with, what box? And I said, Shayna's already spilled the beans. He said, Shayna. So anyway, I want to thank the 4 of you. I'm sure all of you were involved in this gift, this light ring, and I do appreciate it. I'm using it today, and I could tell a big difference, so thank you very much. Now, the topic this week is not about the sewing, but about sewing library. I have never seen anybody do a sewing library, and I thought, well, I know we probably all just, our books are on the shelves if you're older like me. I love my videos. There's a place for both in the way my mind works. So I've consulted both. When these pattern directions, these companies leave out steps, which Bib Mom, I watched her this week, and she was really upset about some steps that were left out. They do. I agree with her. They do leave things out, and sometimes you're like, or the picture is terrible, and you're going, I don't know what you want me to do. I will start pulling books from my library, and we will get into one of those situations with one of them. But first, I want to talk about one of the first books I ever bought from our library, and that was my Vogue Sewing book. I love this book. Now, it does all the basics, and it is the reason why I have all the pressing tools I have, because when I saw, you know, pressing tools you needed, I said, oh, well, I'll just go buy those. And at the time, we had a fabric store here that was a full-on fashion store, which is now Hancock Fabrics of Paducah, and he was, like I said, full-on fashion, and you could buy anything you needed there. Of course, we also had a guy teaching professional tailoring at the vocational school, which I would have loved to have taken classes under him, because he would have covered what I'm about to tell you I want to try to teach myself how to do, which is how to do a tailored blazer or jacket. And there's a section in here about impeccable tailoring, and it covers how to do the padded stitch and the diagonal tacking stitch, and just, you know, all those things. And so this right there is what I'm wanting to learn how to do. You will be able to, the collar will fold the way it should, your lapel will stay the way it should, everything will be impeccably done. And a lot of people are like, why do you want to do that? And I'm like, well, because I want to learn the old way. Now I'm also on to there's another lady I watch from Spain, and so on is the name of her channel. She did a little video on this man in Italy that is offering 3 classes for free. Now he does not offer the tailoring section for free, but 3 beginner level sort of sewing videos, and I am going to sign up for those and see what I think. They looked very interesting, and so I'm planning on trying those out, and I'll let you know how it goes. Another book that will help me with my jacket is going to be this one, High Fashion Sewing. The section in here on bound buttonholes, they're in color, and it goes in a little more detail than my Vogue Sewing book does, because I tried using it once when I was teaching myself how to do bound buttonholes. I'd watched some thread videos as well as other videos out there by other people who's done them, and this one has clearer pictures, I think, of the step-by-step instructions. So I'm hoping that the videos, this book, and a lot of practice will finally, I'll beat this thing. What happens is I get one lip in perfectly, and the other lip is always crooked, always. So I know I'm shifting it as I sew that final step around. I know that's what I'm doing. So I've just got to not do that. Just don't do that. So, shirt making. I have been experimenting with shirts. I like button-down shirts. It's just they don't fit me very well. So I'm trying to get better at it. And this shirt is a Berta pattern, and it has that kind of faux, or I don't know, reverse placket, I think is what they call this, where you have this detail, and then it's got a double collar and the cuff, which I love. I like all those little things, and I know, yes, they are time consuming to put in. It's an extra step and all like that, but I love it. And so I like to do those every now and then. Plus they're a little bit challenging. I like basic stuff too. Don't get me wrong. I like a basic tee just like anybody else, but I also like to challenge myself and see if I can pull it off. So just, you know, I do the same thing in knitting. I'll do something basic for a while, a basic sock, whatever, and then I'll say, I think I'm going to do this. So I'm about to teach myself more about color work. I have done color work, just 2 colors. What I'm about to do has 5. So it will be interesting to see how well that goes. But I'm up for the challenge. You know, I want to try. But anyway, this shirt making book helped me with some of the shirts that I did. This is by David Coffin. Anyway, it has some gray tab pages that are pattern templates. See a little gray tab right here. And one of the things I had to use this book to look up, the type of placket I was putting in the shacket when I made it was shaped sort of like this, with this little addition. Actually, there's another piece that you attach to the top. But anyway, I didn't think I put it in correctly when I was reading the pattern directions, and so I took it off. And then I put it in the way I overthought it is what happened. And it was right really the first time. And when I consulted this directions, I realized that I was right the first time. So the pattern directions were written correctly. It's just maybe it needed a little bit more direction for someone that's the first time they've ever done that kind of placket. So don't always leave it to that the reader knows exactly what they're doing. If it's a first time, we need all the information. Pattern companies, please put all the information, or at least give us a link to click on, and we can go to that link and see a video or something. Maybe incorporate some of that in your pattern instructions. That would be nice, wouldn't it? And I might send a letter off to a couple of these places. I know Bib Mom, she really was upset about some pattern instructions that weren't clear. She managed to salvage her garment, but more clarity would have been nice, you know. And she's an experienced sewer too, so, you know, just don't leave it up to guess. A few years ago, Diane Ericsson put up some books of her mom's up for sale because I think she found boxes of them. And I love Diane Ericsson. She's a very creative person. I would love to go to one of her retreats sometime or take a class under her if I'm ever out in Washington. I would definitely do that. I haven't been to see my niece in a while, so maybe that'll give me a reason to go. But anyway, one of the books I bought was Opening and Closings, and this is about mainly buttons and placement and ways to close, different options, not just your traditional, like this, traditional. Do the buttonhole, put the button, you know. It's not that. It's taking different ties, doing different fronts, changing the front of the, I mean, it's just full of ideas. And I take old jewelry and turn it into like a decoration for the collar or the neckline in this case. You know, some belts and stuff like that is in here. Also, there's one on belts. That's this book, What Goes Around. That's all about belt making and different ideas. I don't make many belts, but if I did, that would be useful. It was cheaper to buy the 3, so that's why I did it. Options is another one. This one mainly talks about things like this. You know, her inspiration, a leaf, which, you know, I've seen that before. Taking things from nature, different ways to pull up the slack in a sleeve or add detail to sleeves. It's just packed with different ideas like that. Different options. The title fits. A way to look at something a little different instead of doing the traditional types of things that you see in our directions. So this year, I'm gonna make a blazer. I also want to do basic pattern making, and this is going to help me get there. You will make a basic bodice. I could do a basic dress. It takes you through all of that. So I've had this book probably for 5 years, but I do know it's still on the shelves and available. But that's going to help me with that. And probably something else that will help me with that is going to be my Couture Book. Will also help me. Now this also is chock full of ideas on different things you can do that maybe you don't think of. But it's also the one that got me to thinking, instead of using those things they want to finish necklines with, facings, I hate them. Arms, I don't like facing, I hate them. They get in the way, I don't know, they're just a nuisance. I would rather use binding. Now, a lot of times I make my own binding, just because I liked having my own binding to add more detail and interest. But I'm not very good at, I press it out the long way. I don't know how to use that little tool that you pull along and the iron's going, you know. I'm not very good at that. For one thing, I can't seem to feed the fabric through it to get started. I don't know why, I just can't. I watch other people, they just zip that stuff and just boom, that's gone. They're usually professional quilters though, and they know what they're doing. So I need to watch them closer. My sewing group is getting together. I'm an ASG member and we're getting together this next week. Unfortunately though, I can't go because my mom's doctor appointment got moved to Tuesday. So we're going to be doing a basic t-shirt pattern. And I probably will talk a little bit about that as we go through the process. So I'll be putting that in my videos as well as talking about makes. My videos will probably start going every 2 weeks after the one I do next week. I do want to, whatever makes I get made next week, I'll do a makes video, talk about them. Some of the patterns are old, like this pattern right here. It is an older pattern. I don't even know if you can get it anymore. It's by McCall's. We will just see. I did cut it smaller because it's oversized. We'll talk all about that next week, but that's all I have for you today. And like I said, I've never seen anybody do a book review before, and I thought, you know, I think I'll do sewing books. Just pick out a few and do them, and put that in here and talk about what's coming up next week, and let you know that every 2 weeks is probably what I'll be going to, just till I kind of get things going a little bit better. But anyway, thank you for joining me. Hit subscribe, like, all those good things would be very, very helpful and very appreciated. And you have yourself a very blessed week. Thank you. Bye.